Yeah. It's the mayor of Mackville, baby. Hey, you know who we gon' vote? We vote Donald Trump, baby. America needs saving. America needs saving. Voted Trump, baby. November 5th, we going crazy. November 5th, we going crazy. Red pill poppin'. Swerving in the Trump, Republican 4G and keeping those. What's up, everybody? Move, make a nation. Throw it up. Black, white, and brown. Rap party, go take your freedom. Indict our president because they can't beat the two-tier justice system. Put America first. We the big FJB, 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 FJB. Let's go, Brandon. Second, we voting Donald Trump, baby. America needs saving. America needs saving. Voted Trump, baby. November 5th, we going crazy. November 5th, we going crazy. No, pledge allegiance to vote for Trump. There's a red wave coming to go surf for what? And God, I trust to take the devil away. Like Joe Biden, not to throw the key away. And propaganda ain't gonna work on me. And the just like you working for free. I demand reparations from every idiot that voted for Joe Biden. Boy, periodicity, Joe is a fraud. And the bloodbath and the vote of fires. The media is the enemy of the people. The Democrats in the fake news. Oh shit, FJB, 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 FJB. Let's go, Brandon. We voting Donald Trump, baby. America needs saving. America needs saving. We voted Trump, baby. November 5th, we going crazy. November 5th, we going crazy.
Good morning, everybody. Always a pleasure to be here with you. You're watching on your TV sets in Texas and Louisiana on the Smart Money Culture TV network, as well as around the world on wonderful platforms like actually not LinkedIn, YouTube and Facebook and Rumble and a host of other ones. Did I say Instagram? I'm still scared of LinkedIn. So I just post over there. They don't like they don't like talking about ending the Fed. They don't like that. Apparently BlackRock owns the majority of LinkedIn. My TV guy says, Bruce, I want you to talk to some BlackRock guys about investing in the TV. And I'm like, really? All right. Fine. Next thing you know, boom, I'm getting nailed on LinkedIn for nothing. But at least I have my account back. 19,000 people over there almost. It's a lot of people. I mean, shoot, I've been working, I was government contracting been contracting with the government and doing crypto and everything like that. Darn near 20 years. In tech, like a lot of people on there that I know. Anyway, so interesting debate last night for sure. I watched it like probably a lot of you guys. Both candidates did well. Trump did well. Kamala did not bomb. And really, that's all she needed to do, in my opinion, was not bomb. Most of the people, when they switched out Biden for Kamala, that was enough for most people. People were not excited to vote for Kamala, but for Biden, but they're fine with Kamala. And so I think that's what she needed to do. She did that. It doesn't mean she's going to win. I don't think she moved any voters that were going to vote for Trump in general. I think she basically played to the base, but they do have a base. I mean, it's not like the polls are coming out, 90 or 80% Trump. And when I say polls, I know that they're jacking them up, but there's still people there. Now, interestingly enough, one of my brothers is doing some canvassing work, and in North Carolina. And in North Carolina, he says it's about 70 to 80% people voting Trump that he's talking to. So that's pretty interesting figure, I think. 70 to 80%. Now, I don't know if they're targeting people that they think might vote for Trump. I'm not sure how exactly that works, but that's an interesting number. Navigating the new financial frontier, politics and finance, the global economic shift. We do have a global economic shift right now happening. Of course, a little bit of a pullback. We have the CPI numbers coming out today. That's Consumer Price Index is what that stands for. CPI, Consumer Price Index, that's the inflation numbers. I actually shared this on my, I can bring it up again the same way. So over the last few months when this CPI data came out, and this is going to be released last few months. This is going to be released in about 2 hours. It's going to be at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Latest CPI numbers. What is anyway, if I don't find it quickly, I won't pull it up. I had it pulled up last night. I do have it over here on my phone. I can read it. I'll read it. Basically, the CPI numbers have come out less than, like a little bit less than forecasted for the last 4 months or so. So, I mean, these are pretty cooked numbers in general. I don't think that they... So, in June, they forecasted 3.4%, and the CPI numbers, the Consumer Price Index, came out at 3.3. In July, they forecasted it is going to be 3.1%. Now, remember, the central banking cartel, the Federal Reserve, has a quote-unquote mandate, okay, at 2% inflation. That means they believe that 2% is the max amount of money that they should be stealing from you, diluting your money supply, or at least how you can feel it every year without people going to the streets and protesting and end the Fed, which we do on the show every day, because we understand what's going on. But they were well over that in June. But they come under the number always. It's like all baloney. So that was, and then August they came in. They forecasted 3%. They came in at 2.9%. September 11th, which is today, a day that'll live in infamy, forecasted 2.6%, and I think they're going to come in under it. 2.5. If we see a 2.5% or less, that should do nice things for the market. We had a little bit of a pullback yesterday during the debate. A lot of people think that if Trump gets in, that the crypto markets are going to go crazy. And if Kamala gets in, it'll be different. So you have a little bit of that going on as well. People just don't like to be in the markets when you have data coming out like today, in a couple hours, because it can do crazy things to the markets. And even if it's going to go one way, a lot of times it'll go one way, bam, really aggressively, either way, both ways, clear all the longs, all the shorts, every leverage position, and then do what it wants to do, or do what it's going to do. So it's a risky time to be in the market. So a lot of people just like to close their positions, which will drag the market down as well. But I think that they're going to come in under, it's an election year. They want, obviously, all the powers to be. I mean, it was pretty interesting last night. It was Trump debating Kamala and the two hosts. I mean, they fact-checked everything that he said, and not much of what she said. But that's what we're dealing with. I mean, the media is completely and totally owned by our friends over here. The central banking cartel. Completely and totally owned. Someone asked me, or someone posted the other day on X, they said, who is running the government? And I said, the same people running the banks and the media. And of course, everybody knows I'm right, but some people are scared to say it. We're not scared to say it around here. Somebody's got to say it. I said it in 2016. You know, it comes time that everybody's got to stand up and be counted. Comes a time in your life when that's the deal. So omitted from the debate last night completely, as far as I saw. Now I did miss the first few minutes of the debate. I missed it, but I did after that stream it, simulcast it, and posted a bunch of the clips underneath it, which I'll show some of them. Let's see here. Omitted topics: the national debt completely, and free speech. Completely just didn't even talk about it. Now, and I understand, guys, I've been on stage a lot, and it's hard in the moment. I get it. But those topics are very important. The national debt right now, and people don't even understand the national debt. We added almost $1 trillion to the national debt, 800 and something billion dollars we added to the national debt over the last 3 months. Now, what that means is we will never be able to pay off this money. So there's $35 trillion, 35 trillion in national debt. And just to give you an idea kind of how large that is, we minted up about $6 trillion in 2023, according to the U.S. Treasury. Everything that was minted. And remember, the whole tax system and everything, the tax is just the burn. They don't use the tax money for anything except to take the money away from you so that you can't spend it. Because if you were able to spend it, that would make inflation worse. It's a weird system that we have. And it's not good. I'll tell you that. It's not good at all. But nothing about free speech. And this is as our posts are being labeled as sensitive. I think the MAGA Trump war room actually had every media they were putting out was sensitive. And as well, Marjorie Taylor Greene put out a video yesterday. And it was flagged as sensitive. Now let me just show you how sensitive this stuff is working too. I actually left this up. So this is what we're dealing with, and this was not talked at all about. I mean, this is real stuff that we're dealing with right here. So I left this up. I wasn't going to do this, but here we go. So I got this message today. So we put a warning message. Can you see this? Yeah. We put a warning message on these posts because they might contain sensitive content like nudity, sexual content, violence, gore, or hateful symbols. We know we don't always get it right, so if you think we're flagged your post by mistake, you can appeal the warning by clicking on each post. Keep in mind, this doesn't guarantee it'll be removed. Now, this is a repost from my friend Ricky Doggin. Russia, 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 he says. So I said, well, I wonder what the post is. Wait, what was the post? So I went over. I did unrepost it because, of course, it's not that important to me to keep it reposted. But let me just show you what the post is here. Ricky Doggin, Russia, Russia, Russia. And this is the post. Russia, Russia, Russia. And this is from my friend Ricky Doggin. You should follow him. Man of memes. He's great. I can't afford food. I can't afford to eat food, says the commenter. You know that's Russian disinformation, right? Says the guy with the Harris Walls hats on here. So I undid the retweet. I mean, you know what I mean. It was not that important to me to keep that reposted or whatever. I highly value my account at X. I was banned before. I had to go all the way to the top to get my account back. My account that I've had for over a decade, 15 years or something. I love Twitter, X. I've always loved it. I think that we may be in a situation where Kamala wins, or even if whoever wins, that free speech may still be quite under attack. We may be enjoying a freedom over the last year or so that we're not going to have, and I am aware of that. We need to, and we've been working on it for a while. It's not easy though, but a decentralized way. We're almost there, really, with Global Boost, but it's not easy. It's expensive. Got to have the users. People just want the ease. They want to go on their app. Even me, I love X. I mean, you want to be where the people are, right? You want to be where the people are. That's the deal. But the national debt is the reason why, you know, every time the Fed mints up more money, they attach, 3 to 5% of debt with it. So they print up 100 billion, they make 3 billion, 3 to 5 billion. So it's attached to it. So we can't even ever pay off the national debt of $35 trillion while we're under the Federal Reserve, while we're allowing them to print money. And there's no reason for us to allow them to print money, except that they took over with the Federal Reserve Act. They funded Woodrow Wilson, and he gave them the country. And so they mint the money, and it's a debt system. It's a debt slavery system. And this is why these people get in trouble all around the world for many, many years. Because at a certain point, there's no way out. There's no way out. So at a certain point, the population revolts, or the leaders revolt, because there's no way out. There's no way out of it. I have the market report. My good friend Matt Dixon the Great. I'm going to put that up here, but I just a little bit, completely omitted free speech and the national debt. Those are like the two things that are most important to us. Are we going to be able to talk? Can we talk out against the people who are oppressing us, the people who are enslaving us? And can we get rid of this debt? People are having a hard time paying the bills. Eggs. I went to Walmart the other day. I don't always go to Walmart, but I went to Walmart. I don't buy my eggs there. I buy them at Costco. But I distinctly remember eggs were like $9.88 or $8.88, and they're now $18.88. I mean, we're talking like almost a complete 100%, 60 eggs on 60 eggs. Crazy town. But that's what really matters to people. And they both missed that. And it was a big miss. It was definitely a big miss. We'll see. And, the media is controlled by our friends here at the Federal Reserve. The banking cartel controls the media. And, of course, they control the banks. And they control Congress. Oh, all right. I have our market report for my friend Matt Dixon, my good friend, my trusted colleague. Now, Matt is not feeling well today, so he recorded it for us. All right. And I lost my thing here. Hold on a second.
Going to be a big day on the financial markets. We've got CPI inflation data due out later today, 8:30 EST. Now, this is vitally important. The final piece in the jigsaw before the Fed, the FOMC rate decision a week today on the 18th of September. Now, this is very important because we're expecting a reduction in interest rates. So this is the kind of final data that will
inform the Fed on basically how much they're going to reduce rates by. I think it's nailed on now that they're going to reduce rates. And is it going to be 25 basis points? I understand there's a 69% chance of a 25 basis point cut. Or could it be 50 basis points? And I understand there's a 25% chance of 50 basis point cut. So all in all, we're talking about a very, very high percentage chance of an interest rate cut. Now, this impacts risk assets because it basically talks about the amount of liquidity, the amount of money flowing around in the system. If they reduce interest rates, then basically there is more money available, or more money flowing around in the system, and so it's going to be positive for risk assets. So I'm not sure whether a 50 basis point will be more positive, because that would potentially show that the Fed is panicking a little bit. We can see here on this chart that I'm sharing with you the interest rate, the CPI inflation, over the past couple of years, really. And we can see how from the peak back in mid-2022, CPI inflation has dropped, consistently dropped. So the Fed raising interest rates did its job, and it has reduced inflation. And now we get into a level close to that 2% target. 2%, of course, is the Fed's mandate. That's their target rate for inflation. So they can't wait until we hit 2% to reduce interest rates, because then we probably or almost definitely overshoot. This is a big shift. The economy they're trying to turn, and the machinery they're using are interest rates effectively, and money printing, and all these new tools they've created. But interest rates are the main tool at the moment they're using, and by reducing interest rates, the actual effect, there's a lag effect. So when they reduce rates, there's a lag effect, and it's actually disputable, debatable how long that delay is. And so they will act before we hit the 2% target. And I think economists have now all in agreement that they're going to reduce rates before we hit that 2% target. At the moment, we're around 2.6% on CPI. So they're going to start reducing rates. As I say, it's a matter of whether it's 25 or 50. I think 25 will be preferable. And don't forget, it's not just, it doesn't look as though it's going to be a one-off cut. The odds are there's going to be 2 more rate cuts. I mean, so every meeting this year. Now, I know they've rolled back their expectations over and over and over again, so we'll see what happens. But if the economy is starting to slow, it probably will pick up steam, the slowing of the economy, and so they may reduce rates. Maybe we get 3 cuts of 25 basis points this year. That would probably be good for risk assets, as long as the slowdown isn't too marked, too exaggerated. Then it should be good for risk assets. So as we move over to look at the various cryptocurrencies, which are one of the main, most volatile and most sensitive risk assets, they're very sensitive to these interest rate decisions. So we've been following a correction now for a long, long time. Well, actually, just scroll out. I'm looking at Solana. It doesn't really matter where I start, but Solana, we can see that we had this long, long up move in prices from when it really broke out from those early, where it's about $8 sometime in 2023, and it's moved up very, very substantially. And we got a push up to a local high of $209, $210, something like that. The previous all-time high was, of course, about $258, $259. So we've yet to reach that. But the fact is, we've had an impulsive move up, and we now have what appears to be some kind of ABC correction to the downside. Now, we could continue more sideways. It could potentially turn out to be what's known as the triangle, which will be an ABCDE move. It could even be, there's a number of corrective possibilities. But the fact is, it is most likely, almost definitely, a correction now. So this is an impulsive upside move with no overlap. This is a corrective move with lots of overlap. You can see all these waves overlapping each other. So it appears to be corrective. And so we do expect it to be a substantial breakout to the upside once this correction is complete. We can't be sure when. Maybe it's today on the CPI news. Maybe it's next week with the rate decision. Don't know when precisely, but the fact is, it's in corrective mode. I think it's an opportunity for us to be buying the dips, to be dollar cost averaging all the way, and look to pick up these assets at somewhere near the bottom of this correction. As I say, we could potentially go a bit lower, but as long as you're not leveraged, or certainly not over leveraged, then potentially there's a lot of upside to go. I will just jump across because I know Solana, I've been saying, is one of my favorite assets, and I jumped in at 127. Right now it's 131.93, so I'm in profit, protected. So hopefully I'll be okay even if the price dips down lower. Maybe look to even add more at lower prices. But I will just jump into one other asset. As I say, Solana's been a favorite. I did mention to you over and over again that Rollbit has been a very, very interesting one. We've seen massive increase. So we're seeing almost now 200% increase since I started telling you this was an asset to watch. I know a lot of the internal goings on there, and it's very positive. So this is why it broke out this long-held parallel downward channel. We broke out to the upside, and there's potentially a lot of upside, probably new all-time high to come. But from when I started talking about this, we're already up almost 200%, and I think there's probably plenty more to come, especially if the overall market continues to the upside. We'll have a little look at Bitcoin now. Again, you can see it's sort of the same kind of picture scenario as we have with Solana. Not quite the same correction, but it's still looking like a correction overlapping waves to the downside following this massive impulse of upside. And we had to new all-time highs for Bitcoin at 73,000 and change. So it just corrected downwards here. The correction is most likely complete at this, what I've got labeled as wave 4. So minimum upside, I expect a minimum 20% upside from the sort of levels we're at now. That's even if this correction were to continue, I expect substantial upside to come. As I say, probably minimum 20% before we get another push to the downside. We could even have, if I look at a trend line here, there's going to be some sort of pressure. Yeah, it's not far off. We could reach up here 68, which is 20% higher than where we are now, roughly. Somewhere around there anyway. So that's going to be a potential kind of resistance, overhead resistance. We need to break through that. If we do break through it, we'll probably retest it and then rocket to the upside to break the all-time high for Bitcoin. So again, I'm very positive. We could just continue straight up through there now, or we could potentially continue the correction sideways a bit more. But even so, whichever way it is, overall, this is a correction. I'm very confident in that. So we should expect new all-time highs to come in a not too distant future. And I've seen some big influencers coming out saying that we're going to see the all-time high of this cycle in 2025. They didn't say when, but I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. But I do think we've got a new all-time high to come, and we are in a bull run. This is just a correction for the time being. Same picture with Ethereum. Again, we can see some kind of corrected downside movement. We had solid bullish, regular bullish divergence here, and price moves up nicely. I'm not sure I've got that labeled on Bitcoin as well. I'll just check. Okay, I've not got labels here, but there's clear bullish divergence from this point as well. I'll just draw that in very quickly just to show you what the way I do it. Basically, we don't count the spike. So we look at the solid candle body as we go from there to there. So from the low trough there to the low trough there, and then we look for the corresponding with RSI, and looking at those corresponding points. That's from there to there, the actual corresponding points. So we can see there's a downward slope on the troughs with the price. There's an upward slope on the troughs with the with RSI. Let's move that one out of the way. So that is on the daily, which is very, very important. We've got a regular bullish divergence. It tells you there's going to be a price reversal from here, and in fact, it was an important Fibonacci level extension. We got a spike down low, which is often the case with spike lows, because we got here, here, here. Every time there's a low, it's usually accompanied by a spike in price. That means the price tested lower but failed, and actually then went on to the upside. And that's what happened here. Price tested lower, failed, and pushed on to the upside. So it pushed up precisely on the signal of this regular bullish divergence, telling us of upside to come. And the movement since that on the daily chart has been quite impulsive. At the moment, no overlapping waves. We could just have a small wave one up. We could be just correcting down wave two, but I think there's going to be more upside to come. So going back, we've done Ethereum, we've done Solana, we've done Bitcoin. We'll just look at we'll look at TON. I think we'll remain crypto assets for the time being. Again, we had beautiful bullish divergence here, regular bullish divergence that aligned with a support level, which was tested multiple times. We failed to stay below that. Spiked below it, and as I say, it's only really a close below a support level that's important. When it's a spike below, that's actually a great sign that support has actually been held, and this was just probing for stop losses by the big market makers and the big whales in the market. So we pushed up from there, again looking nicely impulsive. We've got 3 big green candles to the upside. We've got a bit of a correction down. Let's hope this CPI news that we're getting now will reverse this again back to the upside. I do expect that we've seen the end of this correction for the time being, and I think we're going to see some substantial move to the upside. Even if it's a C wave, it's probably going to be in 5 waves, very powerful move to new all-time highs for Toncoin. Despite the troubles they had with the arrest of the founder, the co-founder, I still think that Toncoin has got an amazing future ahead. So for the foreseeable future, pushing to new all-time high, I believe. We'll just look at some of the traditional assets. One I want to look at the moment, we're always looking at gold, but I really want to focus on oil, because oil, I did show a chart. I won't show it right now, but in fact I probably will show it. Let me just go into my X feed and just scroll back and look for, I did get a very nice correlated chart. I'll quickly find it. There it is. And we can see here the correlation between crude oil price and US CPI inflation. So, of course, we have CPI inflation out today, and we can see the amazing correlation. So, as I've been saying for a year now, that basically crude oil has been leading inflation, it's been leading price rises, because a large part of our expenses, both business and personal expenses, are led by the oil price, the price of energy. We use it for transport, we use it for manufacturing, we use it for heating. Basically, this is a big factor. So I've said all along that the inflation has been led by external factors. I believe in large part the geopolitical troubles in both the Middle East and Russia, Ukraine, they led oil prices higher. And I think that's what spiked inflation higher, because if you're going to get higher oil prices as we had, then clearly it's going to make the cost of everything go up. So it's externally driven. So the fact that oil prices have been coming down and down and down, that is what's led inflation down and down and down. And we're seeing crude oil price continuing to go down now. So I'll jump back to that crude oil. We can see here that we've fallen now a massive percentage from the quite recent highs that we had. Well above $90, we're now well below 70 in the 60s now. So massive decrease in the oil price, and that is what's led inflation down, I believe. And so at the moment, there's no major geopolitical tension. Obviously, that could change at any time, so we need to keep a close eye on it. But for the time being, the geopolitical waters are fairly calm, and so we can expect that oil will continue to drop, and especially as the US economy is beginning to show some signs of slowing, with employment slowing, there's going to be less and less demand for oil. So supply and demand metrics are both driving oil price down, which is driving CPI down. This gives the Fed room to lower rates. So I think there'll be a few rate reductions now. It was too early. I know the Fed were talking about it a year ago, but it was too early because oil price was too high. That was keeping inflation high. Now we're seeing oil price coming down. That means inflation prices will come down, inflation coming down, and so the Fed can reduce rates. Now is the time to start thinking about maybe we're entering that bull time, that bullish period, of potentially the next bull run. So everybody was talking about it prematurely, and we've been going through this long-held correction for Bitcoin. But, I won't go back to it now, but it's been a long-held correction. I think we're about to enter another bull run for crypto, for Bitcoin and crypto, and challenge a few new all-time highs there for us. So it could be exciting times ahead. Again, DXY, dollar index, we're seeing it, again pushing towards the downside. I think we'll see it we'll break this support, fairly long-held support, and we'll head lower for the dollar, because obviously if they're reducing interest rates, there's less incentive to hold US dollars if they're paying lower interest, and so they'll look for higher risk assets, higher risk currencies, and also higher returning currencies, higher interest rate currencies, but also high yielding assets. And crypto, when the market's booming, are one of the highest yielding assets that there are. So I think we're heading for a nice little bull run on crypto. So that's the XY. And yeah, all of the tokens just now are treading water, as you can see, just to sort of summarize. Most of them are treading water. As I say, the one outlier has been Rollbit, which has been pushing consistently higher, one of the biggest performers of late. But all in all, nearly all the assets, crypto assets, are showing negative, and that's just treading water, I think, ahead of the CPI news. So be very interesting to watch. I'll be tuned in. I'll be posting immediately on X what my response and expectations are, both before and after we get the CPI news. There may be a little bit of a surprise reaction initially, but I do think that overall, if we get lower than expected or even meet expectations, that should be positive risk assets. So I think that all these reds should hopefully turn into greens. So that's it for today. Hope it sets you up for the week. And as I say, let's watch out for CPI news. I look forward to catching up again tomorrow. Thanks so much for listening, and catch up soon. Bye for now.
The great Matt Dixon. What are this is world-class analysis that we provide every day. I know Matt's not feeling well. Thanks so much, Matt, for recording that so that we could play it. We are the Mark Star bit treading water before the CPI data. I think that once the CPI data comes out, that things are going to fly. That's what I think. Let me see here. All right. We'll see, right? We'll see what they are. But as I was showing you guys before, or telling you at least, the CPI numbers, the inflation numbers, it's all cooked anyway, pretty much the numbers. So they have been coming out lower than expected over the last 4 or 5 months. Shows that they're getting inflation under control, and there you have it. So one of the ways that he mentioned it, and actually I was in a Telegram group last night talking about exactly what he was talking about with the Fed, or not with the Fed, but with oil prices. So if oil prices are lower, that brings the cost to do everything lower, and then inflation that you feel should be lower. Even if you're just at your tank, $10 here less, $10 there less. For the average person, they feel that should go into the cost of all goods and services, because everything usually has to be at some point moved around, right? So that plays into the whole bit. I wanted to play a little bit of the debate last night. Of course, it was so interesting, right? So I want to play that. I'm going to head right over here to my wrong tab here. Here we go, to my X feed. Here we go. Okay, a couple of funny posts to put out as well, right? We are never. So what I do last night, and I do this often. If you follow me, I'm at Network Manager on that. And if you follow me, a lot of times during a debate, I'll simulcast it, and then underneath, just like I do for the show, I'll put different clips. Okay, so Trump feed here. There's you need presidential simulcast comment party if you were commenting on. This was interesting. Kamala actually laughed. Watch this. This is an interesting clip here.
Many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, just because many things are 50.
She laughs there for a minute as he talks about how people are struggling under inflation. 70 to 80%, inflation is 78% higher, which is a real number. I just told you about the eggs. You know, and I know. Everyone knows who these guys want to win. Of course, that has been a story. It was brought up during the debate. I guess, you know, I mean, duck, I guess I can understand, right? Duck, everybody eats duck. I mean, I don't really eat duck. I don't not eat duck, I suppose, but people eat duck. But cats? People eating cats? I mean, this is rough. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on democracy since the Civil War, Kamala says. Then, of course, I have in here quoted the World Trade Center, which that's a whole thing in itself. If you want to go and follow on my feed and go down the rabbit hole there, you can click into that post. It's about a 34 post thread on there where I go through the art students that were there at the World Trade Center and all that stuff. I'm not going to get into right now, but you can if you want to. Everyone knows I'm an open book, Trump says. Everyone knows what I'm going to do. Our taxes cut taxes very substantially and create great economy, just like I did before Donald Trump.
Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic. And the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows.
With millions of people pouring in our country from prisons and jails and mental institutions and insane asylums, you see what is happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. President Trump. Let's hear this.
We have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that Xi and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again, and even better. We have millions of people pouring into our country.
Of course, we have Kamala here. It kind of dodges the question. Do you believe? Well, here we go. Well, and let me just, before I go to that, you know, what Trump's talking about, that we have millions and millions of people. And, you know, Tucker went on his show and told us it was over 20 million people that have entered the country illegally since Biden has taken office. And that's an astounding number, especially when you start to realize that, like, places like Michigan and North Carolina and other places, these so-called battleground states, are really decided by like 50,000 votes. 30,000 votes, 100,000 votes. 20 million people is way more than enough in the right places to throw an election. And then you add on the magic electronic voting machines and the mail-in ballots and, you know, whatever. Anyway, this is Kamala dodging a question.
When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid. And I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing. And the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children.
When it comes to the economy, do you believe?
And I hear my audio is not that great. Sorry about that, guys. Trump talking about Kamala as a Marxist. I wonder if I can fix this. What if I? Ha ha. Did it work? I'm still live. Ha. Okay, I think I fixed it. Okay, it's a tricky moment there because let's see here. Here we go. All right, right where we left off. Okay. Trump talking about Kamala being a Marxist.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, well, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals, and that's bad for our economy too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you say,
all in all, as I mentioned before, Trump, he's very impressive. Rapid fire. The man's 80 years old or something, close to 80 years old, and he doesn't miss anything. He doesn't miss a cue. He doesn't he hears everything. He's at the top of his game. It's very, very impressive. Very, very impressive person. I hope that we can get him in, because the apparatus, these guys right here, central banking cartel, the media, all these people, they want Kamala Harris, which is interesting. It should be very interesting to you, because if you know who these guys are and who controls the media, and they're supposed to be in bed with Trump, they're supposed to love Trump, and why do they still want Kamala? Well, what is the deal there? I've, of course, talked about it here and there. I think that Kamala is more controllable. You have to understand what these people want, and it's not what you want. You know what I mean? It's different. It's different. They want different stuff. It's not stuff that you want, obviously. So, anyway, I think my audio is a little testy today, and I'm going to try to get that under control. And I am going to bow out early today. Oh, wait, before I do that, let me talk about my friends over here. Dalgo, and P Gold. I, of course, am long on Dalgo and P Gold. Here we go, Dalgo. So, Dalgo, such an impressive asset. Of course, this is backed by liquidity of P Gold. So what they did, of course, I've talked about this a number of times on the show, because I am I am long on these assets. Now, what P Gold did, Polka Gold, was they locked a bunch of liquidity in Algorand. Algorand is another asset. It's not the normal guys, okay, not the normal central bankers that are behind a lot of these coins, but there's some Italian guys. Started Algorand. Algorand has recently come out with some really good partnerships, and I do think it's going to bounce very, very hard. I think it's going to go. It's not even doubled since its low, and you can look. Ethereum, its low is 800. It's about triple. Of course, Bitcoin is about quadruple. These things they're gonna roll more than not financial advice. We get paid to do this stuff and all that good stuff I'm supposed to say, okay? But I think it's going to go. And so that Algorand is locked in the Polka Gold, okay? And with that locked liquidity, of course, Polka Gold, when Algorand goes up, Polka Gold goes up. And of course, more people will buy Polka Gold as well. And it goes up even more a lot of times than Algorand, which in itself will a lot of times go up even more than Bitcoin. So as we run into this bull market, of course, should see these alt currencies really start to take off and perform very, 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 very well. So I am long on Dalgo, of course, and Polka Gold because of that. Because what they did when they started Dalgo, this fun meme coin, was they locked 10% of the Polka Gold supply in there. Dalgo.tech. Dalgo.tech is the website. Meet Dalgo. Okay. So fun meme coin. I am long. I do think that it's going to do very, very well. Yes. So I do like to share a lot of these that I am in. Another one, of course, is Dog or Flower. Dog or Flower, a bit more of a free-flowing asset. There's not locked liquidity and everything else, but it can move a lot. I mean, it moved up 70% yesterday, 73% at its height yesterday. So big moves. Dog or Flower trades under dollar or. It's another one that I am long on, and I think is a cool one. Let me just pull up that site for you here. Dog or Flower. It's a Dog or Flower. It's a fun meme coin. Of course, this is built on TON. Okay, so part of the monetary revolution, part and parcel of the monetary revolution. Or TON coin. This is their X page. Make sure to give that a follow here. But you can see, doing their thing. Okay. Fun meme coins. I do think if TON, because I am a firm believer, and we talked about that earlier, when TON really goes, these coins that are on TON are really going to go as well. And so you look at something like both of these ones I talked about, Dalgo and or TON or Dog or Flower. Dog or Flower at the moment has a higher market cap than Dalgo, but it doesn't mean it'll stay that way. But the growth potential on both is massive. Not financial advice, all that good stuff. I get paid to do this. You are warned. Anyway, also make sure to check out one of our favorite wallets here, Tangem wallet. Use the discount code Impact Money. Get your Tangem wallet. Tangem.com. This is a hardware wallet. Then as well, we have a number of different conferences coming up. Of course, we have the UN Blockchain Week that is coming up at the end of the month there in New York. We have Money 2020. It's coming up. All of the discount codes stuff I have underneath my post. I don't have time to go over them today, but I'll spend some more time on getting that information out. But we have a discount code for Money 2020. It's Globe Globe 10, I think. Glob 10. It's on the the thing on my post, Rumble and YouTube and everything else. I'll post it as well under my X accounts. We have multiple accounts coming up in October, or multiple shows coming up in October as well. But yeah, we have Money 2020. We also have Consensus in Hong Kong. Consensus in Hong Kong is going to be a fun one. I will start to share those links. I didn't start today. I finally got my link yesterday. Hello, Rosanna McKinley. It's nice to see you. But that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm out, guys. I'll see you. I'll be back on your TV in Texas and Louisiana in about 5 hours from now. And I'm always on next. Cheers, guys.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.